it's not just your old pal Jake. It's not just you that's tired of waiting for Merrick Garland to do his job. It's also Trump. Mary Trump, the one sane person that I'm aware of in the Trump family, recently talked about this very issue, and man, she's spitting some fire. I thought I would share that with you. I like her podcast. Here it is.
Every once in a while, Merrick Garland breaks his silence to remind me why I hate him so much.
Well, I certainly
He called
hope it's
a
playing
press
for you.
conference yesterday afternoon, and no, it was not about the massive amounts of treason committed by Donald Trump and his allies. It wasn't about the thousands of stolen, top secret, and highly sensitive documents that Donald lied about having and refused to turn over to the Justice Department. It wasn't about Donald's role in inciting an insurrection against our government. Nope. It was about a few dozen documents that somebody found on one of Joe Biden's properties, which were immediately turned over to the National Archives. And as far as we can tell, that shouldn't have happened, of course. But as far as we can tell, there was no criminal intent, and there was actually no knowledge that these documents were there. As President Obama said, if these are records from the time Joe Biden was vice president, then they couldn't really have been that important. But Merrick Garland, in all his wisdom, decided that a special counsel needed to be appointed immediately.
Okay, so let me just pop myself back on screen here. So she's covering the same issue. I like where she's going with this, though, because she is finally discussing the flaws in that effing guy. Okay, I'm not good at the behind the back pointing, but here we go. We'll use the pen. Merrick Garland. I do note that if you don't have corporate money back in your show, and you are in fact Mary Trump doing this out of her living room, doing very well, or maybe office, I don't know or care. Point is, not a major studio. It's easier to say, ooh, the way things are ain't good. During our MLK show, this is what we talked about, just from a different perspective. But you'll note we're getting to the same problem again and again and again. It's the fourth branch of government that nobody asked for. It's the corporations. They fund this nonsense. And there's if you enjoyed Glass Onion, very much about that, as well as the fact that we put too much faith in rich people. But yeah, they fund this. Merrick Garland hasn't had a lot of people publicly questioning him because a lot of people get their news only from people who really don't like to publicly question authority. Let's let Mary Trump nail this in a way I really enjoyed. Presuming I hit play.
I'm not entirely sure, but I think it took almost 2 years for him to do the same for the egregious and obvious crimes that Donald Trump committed. But this is what happens when Democrats continue to appoint or nominate what they consider consensus candidates to appeal to a moderate wing of the Republican Party that does not exist. Thanks, Merrick Garland.
Boom. Nice.
Have I mentioned I hate him? Recently, a U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commissioner warned about the potential dangers of gas stoves, particularly.
So, I kind of want to hear what she has to say about gas. I pulled this just for the Garland clip, but yeah, let me know in the comments if you want to do the gas stove things as well before we move on. Just want to highlight that. That's Mary Trump saying Garland is appealing to people that cannot be appealed to. The consensus candidates have been proven to be a failure time and time again. If we learn nothing from Trump, it is that in America, we don't really have swing voters. There's the percentage of people who vote and aren't quite sure if they're going to vote conservative or liberal. That's a very narrow group. And what we actually have, we have been misreading voter turnout for years. What we actually have is a base that does not turn out for middle of the road folks on either side. That's what we have. And these consensus candidates, all they do is ensure that it is harder to turn out the base of the left. The right has no interest in consensus. They're not interested in governing, frankly. They're interested in taking money out of America and putting it in their own pockets. So we need to make, and again, we do this by contacting our representatives. We need to make our representatives aware that this making nice with villains needs to stop. This compromising with evil. This is not minor ideological differences. This is, should we live under fascist rule or not? Should we have elections or not? That's serious. Had a viewer question. Oh, it's hilariously bad. I'd like to hear her take. Oh, heck yeah. Okay, excellent. Well, it looks like we have consensus. We do want to hear the gas stove thing. Excellent. We're going to do that. A real quick viewer question. Do I have an email? I am setting up a website now, which will have an email. But I don't currently. I'm wondering if I should give away my my personal email. The problem is I never check it, and I don't want it to seem like I'm ignoring you. If you leave a question in the stream or in the later VOD, I will certainly answer it. And yeah, if you have a question you'd like to send me tonight, you can send that to. I will check it tonight, and I'll try to remember it exists tomorrow, and then I won't check it again for about a year. So I have had it since I was 16, but we will get an official email soon through a website. Let's listen to what Mary Trump has to say on the gas stove debacle.
To the brain development of young children and the fact that they may increase the risk of developing childhood asthma. Now, if you don't give a shit about children's brain development or whether or not they get asthma, then yes, as Ronnie Jackson suggests, we will have to pry the gas.
Okay, I thought you were going to say give a shit about glass stoves. No, I very much care about the asthma. Let's
stoves out of your cold, dead hands. But here's the thing. Nobody is trying to do that. It is just another way for the Republicans to get people angry and to get people to think that Democrats are coming for yet another one of their freedoms to destroy the environment and hurt other human beings.
Yeah, what has been proposed is not banning gas stoves. It's been simply, if you have an existing gas stove, funding the purchase of non-gas stoves. That's it. So, yeah, the government helps you buy a new stove. That's all they're doing. In
related news, Nick Adams, self-described alpha male. I just for a second, I have to concede that I don't actually think this is a real person. Part of me is convinced that this must be a parody account. I mean, who calls themselves an alpha male?
Right?
Well, wait a second. Yeah, sometimes people do things like describe themselves in ways that nobody who actually had those characteristics ever would, like self-described smart person, Donald Trump. But Nick, who claims to be Donald Trump's favorite author, is on the warpath against the Mars company, which makes M&Ms because, and I don't know if this is true or not, but because M&Ms have packaged female M&Ms, and Nick only wants them to package.
I had so I don't tend to do this type of stuff as much. It's too weird not to let this finish, though. My God, Is this a genuine complaint this guy has? The lady M&Ms, really?
Male M&Ms. So he literally tweeted, "Not one M&M will pass my lips until Mars issues a formal apology and releases an all-male package of M&Ms to demonstrate their commitment to gender equality." So what this alpha male is saying is that he only wants males in his mouth? I don't know, Nick. You might want to rethink that one.
Hey, it could be a fun Saturday. Who's to say? Mary Trump's podcast, very, very humorous, and I do like that she cuts right to the point. This Merrick Garland's handling of any investigation involving people in power has been just a disgrace, utterly disgraceful. To finish us up here, as our I guess we can call it our outro. Why is all this? Well, at first, I'd like to remind you what you can do about it. What you can do is contact the Department of Justice and let them know that they are not operating in stealth mode anymore. You don't have to rant. You just write a sentence saying, "It is time to hold Trump accountable." If you want to talk to your state attorney general about getting charges filed in a state investigation, or rather, not even charges, if you just want to start a state investigation to find out from the state side if the fake elector plot is what the January 6th committee says it was, there's a script in there for you. You can literally, if you want, you could just copy that, paste it into into the contact link that I've provided for you, and tell your attorney general that you'd like it pursued. You'd like it investigated. But why? Why is it so hard to get this done? Why is there so much resistance to justice if the powerful are the ones who are doing crimes? Well, if you're a fan of The Princess Bride or My Dinner with Andre, or just generally humorous content in general, you'll be familiar with Wallace Shawn. Here he is reading a book that I think, or rather, he's reading a piece of text that I think describes well why all this exists.
Did you ever think of the utter absurdity and strangeness of the fact that all over the civilized world, the working classes are the poor classes? Go into any city in the world and get into a cab and ask the man to drive you where the working people live. He won't take you to where the fine houses are. He will take you, on the contrary, into the squalid quarters, the poorer quarters. Did you ever think how curious that is?
Yeah, curious, and frankly, it's heartbreaking. But that is the purpose of all this. It's to keep the rich rich and help them get richer, even knowing that their control over the majority of our wealth means there are kids that are going to not eat tonight. There's kids that are going to sleep on the street tonight. There's human beings who will suffer because of the disproportionate wealth distribution in our country. And somewhere, and if you want to start building bridges, I'm not in the mood for it, but if you're there, if you want to start building bridges with MAGA, somewhere there is an understanding throughout this country, throughout the political spectrum, that something is unfair about that. That understanding is getting expressed in healthy ways and unhealthy ways. Healthy ways, contacting representatives, marching out in the street, examining how we vote and why we voted that way. Those are all healthy ways. The unhealthy ways? Taking shots at political candidates' doors. Blaming everything on the ominous Jews and their space lasers. Hopefully, we will begin to transition, because most seem to understand this is not a sustainable way to live. We will begin to transition into a just society. And just like I'm enjoying building this channel with you, I'm looking forward to building this just society with you. And I hope that your input is part of both. To that end, we are doing the Citizen of the Day. If you do contact one of these people, if you contact your representative, or if you contact your state attorney general, or if you just contact the Department of Justice, if you take any of these steps, let me know in the comments. Because I want to start holding up people as examples of people who are getting off their butt and doing something about this. This is what you can do. I'm proud to know you. I'm proud to be here talking to you. And I will be tomorrow as well. I hope you'll join us for that show. And by the way, it's 2 for Tuesday. That means I'll do another show in a little bit. And it won't be as good. But I will do one. I hope to see you then. I hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.